In this video, you'll see how a single man transformed the space beneath a massive mountain boulder into a proper home and even built a small cliffside garden, creating a peaceful, self-sufficient life deep in the wilderness. To create a proper home beneath the hillside, the first task was clearing the site. The man began by removing weeds and cleaning the ground around the boulder. After clearing the surrounding area, he gathered every loose stone and stacked them neatly to one side, knowing they would later become valuable building materials. Then he grabbed his shovel and began leveling the ground. Before any construction could begin, the foundation needed to be flat, stable, and easy to work on. To create more living space beneath the massive boulder, he pulled out a set of stoneworking tools. Having once worked as a stonemason, he patiently chipped away at the rock face. Piece by piece, the cramped space became wider and more comfortable. While expanding the shelter, he also carved a stone bed directly into the rock. Next, he used bamboo and vines to weave a large carrying basket. After attaching shoulder straps, it became a practical backpack for transporting soil, clay, and stone. With the basic space prepared, he began building the walls. Large quantities of yellow clay were carried back to the site and mixed into a natural mortar. Using the stones he had collected earlier, he carefully stacked the walls layer by layer. Once the stonework was complete, the entire surface was coated with clay plaster, giving the shelter a cleaner and more uniform appearance. The sleeping area also received special attention. Around the stone bed, he built a low stone border and filled the interior with dark soil before covering the surface with ceramic tiles. After cleaning and polishing every piece, the bed looks surprisingly comfortable. A nearby storage platform was built using the same technique. With the living area taking shape, the man headed back into the forest in search of timber. Along the way, he discovered a hollow tree that looked perfect for a future beehive. Rather than disturbing it, he covered the opening with a stone and continued searching. Eventually, he found a fallen tree that seemed perfect for the stove he had in mind. After carefully inspecting it, he cut a hollow section of the trunk to the proper length and carried it back to camp. After dragging it back to camp, he hollowed out part of the trunk to create a large wooden trough. A layer of clay was applied to the exterior as a simple fireproofing measure. After several days of hard work, he finally took a moment to cool off beneath a stream and wash away the dirt and fatigue. After washing and taking a short rest, he turned his attention back to the shelter. To create more living space beneath the boulder, he first moved the stones he had gathered earlier to one side. Then he grabbed his shovel and began expanding the interior. Load after load of soil was removed as the shelter gradually became wider and more comfortable. Once enough space had been created, he returned to the same building method that had worked so well before. Using stone and clay, he began constructing another wall. Layer by layer, the structure slowly rose higher, though its true purpose had not yet been revealed. After marking the doorway, he began stacking stones inside trenches dug along both sides of the shelter. While raising the walls, he also planned the location of a future clay stove. Every detail already existed in his mind long before construction began. Using sticks and mud, he formed the basic stove structure while the walls gradually rose to waist height. The most exhausting task was transporting stone after stone back to the site, but the effort slowly paid off. Ventilation windows were left on both sides of the entrance. Above them, irregular stones were carefully shaped and leveled to create a strong lintel. Once the final stone was installed, the shelter finally began to resemble a real home. The chimney was then extended upward until it reached the height of the giant boulder overhead. A smoke outlet was left open, while a large flat stone protected the top from rainwater. To test the system, he lit a roaring fire inside the stove. Smoke flowed smoothly through the chimney, proving that everything worked exactly as planned. Unfortunately, the constant moisture of the rainforest soon turned the shelter floor into a muddy mess. To solve this problem, the man once again headed into the wilderness and gathered flat stones from a nearby stream. Trip after trip, he carried enough stones back to the shelter. Using clay as a natural mortar, he carefully arranged them across the floor. One stone after another was fitted into place until the entire surface was covered. The new stone flooring not only kept the interior cleaner, but also helped isolate the living space from the damp ground beneath. Once the interior was finished, he shifted his attention outside. Soil was excavated near the entrance to form a staircase leading down to the shelter. Both sides were reinforced with stone, while irregular cobblestones were laid across the pathway to create a neat and durable walkway. Gravel was then spread throughout the courtyard, giving the entrance a clean and finished appearance. Only after completing all of this work did he finally sit down and enjoy a well-earned cup of tea. While relaxing, he remembered the hollow tree he had discovered earlier. Upon inspection, he noticed signs that wild bees had already begun exploring the area. It was the perfect time to build a beehive. So once again, the man headed deep into the wilderness in search of suitable timber. After finding a fallen tree, he began cutting it into planks. The work was slow and physically demanding, but after spending most of the day processing the lumber, he finally produced several usable boards. Before building the beehive, however, he decided to solve another problem first. Whenever it rained, water would pour through the drafty entrance. So he set the beehive project aside and focused on building a proper entrance for the shelter. Mortises and grooves were carved into matching boards before being assembled into a sturdy frame. Using traditional joinery techniques, he crafted a beautiful log door and fitted it with a uniquely shaped handle. Once installed within the frame, the door fit perfectly. After testing it several times, he found that it opened and closed with remarkable smoothness. The remaining boards were then used to construct the beehive itself. Four wooden walls were assembled around a central frame before a thick protective lid was added on top. Although the finished hive looked unusual, it was fully functional. Next, he wove a special carrying tool designed specifically for safely relocating bees. Using careful techniques, he transferred the queen bee into the new hive. Once the queen settled in, the rest of the colony gradually followed. With the bees successfully established, he now had a future source of fresh honey. Looking at the fertile black soil surrounding the shelter, he realized it would be a waste not to grow food there as well. After removing debris from the soil, he built a series of planting beds along the stepped terraces outside the shelter. After completing the stepped terraces, the man collected several decorative plants from the surrounding wilderness and planted them along the edges. The greenery instantly transformed the area, making the shelter look far more inviting and full of life. With the landscaping complete, he finally turned his attention to the garden itself. Reaching into his backpack, he pulled out a collection of young seedlings and carefully planted them in the first row. The remaining space was filled with seeds saved from previous harvests. After all, if you enjoy eating something, it only makes sense to grow plenty of it. One week later, the garden was thriving. The seedlings had grown rapidly, and the once empty terraces were now filled with fresh vegetables. With the garden thriving, the man turned his attention back to food. He gathered plenty of bamboo stalks and carefully wove them into 2 sturdy baskets. Once the weaving was complete, he headed to a nearby stream and managed to catch several fish. That evening, he prepared a meal using fresh greens from the garden alongside fish from the stream. And if the food felt a little dry, there was always a glass of pure natural honey water to wash it down. This was no longer just a shelter. It had become a fully self-sufficient wilderness home. If the maximum score were 100, how many points would you give him for this incredible build?